Hello, everyone. It's Mark Milton from the RoselleCitizen.com. I'm here with Council President, congratulations, Yves Aubourg. Now, do me a favor real quick. Just pronounce your last name, because I know I pronounce it incorrectly.
If you want to say it in French, it's Yves François Aubourg.
Aubourg, okay. So, Aubourg. So, I appreciate you taking your time out, coming down here, and going to talk a little bit. What we're trying to do is, this is like the first show of what we're trying to do, something called The Ward Speaks. We're going to try to get with each council person and just discuss their ward, what's going on, their initiatives, how they are going to function. Since we're dealing with some new people on the council, new administration, some people don't know you, and some people don't know the rest and what the changes have been. So we want to just simply do a one-on-one, just a type of personal thing with our council person. And Yves, you just happen to be my council person. Well, you were my council person in Ward 1. So that's what we want to do. But first, like we do always, we want to get some borough business out of the way. With some of the businesses here, I like to at least give our business, our local business, as much communication to the public as they can. So there's a business, and actually I want to thank Yves for this too, on the corner of Sheridan and St. George. A great auto body place, not auto body, I'm sorry. Repair, and tune-ups and everything else. His name is George. Go see him. His wife is there. Great couple. They took that place and they just turned it around. It's gorgeous. I mean, I think that's the cleanest shop I've ever seen. And they did, it does the ward justice. It's really nice right there in the corner. And I did reach out to Yves, and he needed some assistance on getting his sidewalk done, and Yves stepped up, and it's really nice. I'm jealous. I want a sidewalk like that. But again, he actually wanted me to make sure that I thanked you, and he wanted to pass that on too. I know he, I don't know if he.
Yeah, I stopped by to talk to him.
So, yeah.
but I think that's one of the things. That's why I don't mind coming to your show, because sometimes people think it's a fight. It's not a fight. You have your right to give me your opinion. In that case,
Correct.
You call me, you say, hey, this guy's having a problem. He doesn't know what to do. I stopped by. I saw the sidewalk, was messing up tires. And then I said, don't worry, that's my job. I'm not doing any favor.
Right.
And you got a resident that called the councilman because I'm the middleman.
Right.
If I don't see it, you go there, you see it, and he tells you, and he doesn't know, he has to call his councilman, or he's afraid. And then you say, Yves, go stop by and check it out. And I did, and I said, don't worry. We'll put it on our schedule, and that was a bad thing. And then I drove by within like 3 weeks, it was done. Yeah, and it was a good job, well done by the
well done.
Works.
What I mean, listen, I don't think I've ever called you for assistance, but I knew that you would do what you had to do. So, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing the show, because we want people to understand that their council person is there for them.
Yep.
Instead of going straight to the borough maybe, or they're not getting any answers. I mean, the mayor might be busy, or which she probably is most of the time. Your council person is there for you. So again, thank you very much. And then we have Muscle Maker Grill, which I've talked about before. That's up on the Roselle Shopping in the Commons, right? Yeah.
It's good diet food.
Good diet food. Good diet food.
You don't have to worry about watching your diet
That's
or
right.
getting weight. It's,
See,
the price is always reasonable too.
Yes. And go see Anna Lopez. She is another resident, owns a home here in Roselle, and she take care of you like your family. So it's really good. If you're trying to watch your calories, they actually have the calorie counts on the menu. And they do catering and everything, and it's a fun place to go. Really nice looking place. They did a good job on it. And one last thing is, I don't know the exact name, but there's a grocery store that just opened maybe a month ago on First Avenue.
Yeah, it's a Spanish name.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what it is, but it's more toward Harrison.
Vegetables,
yeah. Right, Harrison, right in First.
No, further up than Harrison. It's like a half street, right across the street, where the whole Hostess Bakery used to be.
Okay, yeah, Hostess, right. So go see them. Great. I think his name is Guido. If I'm mispronouncing, please forgive me, Guido. But go see them, check it out, talk to them. Another family-owned business. We have to understand that our businesses need our help. Again, if you're spending 4 days, 5 days outside, try to make it 4 days outside and 1 day here in Roselle. Spend your money here. It would help, believe me. A lot of these like family-owned businesses, so they need your support. And since we got that away, events. I really don't. I know there's some Black History.
There's some Black History going on this Friday at Polk School.
Okay.
After hours, 6
That's
o'clock, and then I think there's a free dinner, and then we encourage everybody to go to Polk School and support that.
Yes. So okay. So one thing. So let's get into discussing Yves. This is you. We're making this about you tonight.
Okay.
And so one thing I just want to know. Yesterday we had that incident that happened at Sylvester Land Fields.
Yes.
As most of you probably have known, there was a unfortunate slaying of a young boy at Sylvester Field. I don't know the parents, their name or anything.
Last name is Mitchell.
Okay, last name is Mitchell. So our condolences to the Mitchell family, and so I assume everything is still under investigation going on. So one of the things I want to ask you, Yves, how are things as public safety? Is Roselle looking at are we running to a higher crime rate now, or are we seeing more things happening like this? Because, and I know you had told me about incident in front of around your way.
In front of my house.
In front of your house. So, and then there was some slayings last year. So, is the police department doing the due diligence and getting to the root of this, or are these just random acts, or is this really something gang related here in our wards?
I mean, I'm not gonna insinuate what it is. Right. The only thing I can assure the resident that'll be watching, we had a murder on Drake Avenue almost 2 years. That was a pizza man. They called for a delivery, and then he got killed. So that killer was apprehended last week. Okay. So the incident happened in front of my house. A lady was crossing the street. Her car hit her, and another car going northbound hit her, and then left the scene. This guy got caught within 48 hours. So the police department is doing what they're supposed to do, is reinforce the law. And then I can tell you the past 2 weeks in my area, I mean, people were getting tickets like crazy. Right. And then people were calling me, and I told them, listen, it's just like everybody's complaining about speeding, and then now when you enforce it, everybody's complaining I'm getting tickets. But the police department is doing their best, and then this is one of the things that the prior administration with me as a police commissioner, we make sure we enforce our police department. Any retirement, we make sure we replace. Anybody that gets sick, cannot come back to the force, we replace. Right. While everybody else, laying off all these officers in Roselle, we make sure we get enough staff.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, the community. When we're talking about wards, what can the community do, and who do they reach out to when it comes to this?
The thing that we encourage mostly in every ward is to have a neighborhood watch. Have citizens involved in their community, in their block, to have 8 to 10 different family members designated to meet on a regular basis and discuss issues, what they don't like, what's going on, speeding, things like that, or drug dealers, anything. And then report that to your council person, and your council will take it to the police department. But we got Sergeant Scotto that's volunteering, and that's a job, community police officer.
Right. Okay.
That will go to those meetings and then help those residents to know if you see something that you don't like with the robberies, things like that, and then how to protect themselves and how to report things like that.
Ward 1.
Ward 1, we have one active one on Sheridan. I'm not on Sheridan, on Thompson. That's the only one I know that's active. I know there's one on Drake. I don't know how many meetings they had, but I know we're pushing someone to be active on Drake Avenue.
So it's more by block by block?
Yes.
Okay. So as of the only one that's existing that you know is on Drake.
On Drake.
On
yes.
Drake. So
No, on Thompson.
on Thompson. But so right now we need to get some people.
Yeah, we need to have more
yeah.
people to get involved to really just, it's not something big, just like you call a meeting at home, get some of your neighbors, and then they meet for coffee, and then you discuss issues, and then we can have me at those meetings, and you got Sergeant Scotto that will be there explaining the process, what you need to do, what you need to look for, and then we go from there, because the police cannot be 24 hours
Right.
in one section of town.
Well,
like,
I mean, yeah.
they were patrolling the third ward from top to bottom to Elizabeth Building. So now when they have that crime by Walnut and Columbus, so you have to shift.
Right.
You know, because now it's a bigger investigation going on. This one is got to solve. So that's why even the sign, they moved that. So you know, because you have a main power, and then you have to work on overtime also.
Right.
You know,
All right. So this is the thing. I want to actually get
to the first ward.
to the first. Yeah. And your role here as first ward as the council person. Just explain what your role is when it comes to the ward itself. And when I'm talking about how do you tie in the ward to Borough Hall and back again?
All right. The first thing I need to mention, actually, Mark, I have to thank you for doing that. Mark is not taking my time away from me, or this is my office hours. I change the way we do business on the first ward. The reason is just like I call so many first ward meetings, you will have the same 5, 6 people that I can just call. They were the same one coming to the meeting. Barely you'll see a new face.
Right.
So what I did the office hours, 6 to 8 every Tuesday, I'll be here. So therefore, you don't have to wait for a month or for a council meeting to be there. You can call me, 908-967-1504, or you can call me on a Tuesday. You call me, make an arrangement, and then we can deal on one-on-one. That's one thing. The second thing, as a councilman, your role is like you're intermediate between the administration and your ward. That means if you have any issue, like, you get an example of your garage man, your mechanic guy. He has an issue, he couldn't go to anybody, you're out there, you come to the meeting, you know who to talk to, you bring that complaint to anybody inside, and then you let them handle it. If they don't, you go back and say, hey, Yves, it's been 3 months, it's been 6 months, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So this is really your job of a councilman. You patrol your ward, make sure that the potholes, the streets, the sidewalks are taken care of, the trees. Those are the major quality life of issue. And then the other one is the police department. As a police commissioner, as a public safety member, we deal with the police department on a daily basis with calls, with burglaries in your ward, anything that goes on in your ward, the police will report to you first, tell you, hey, there's something happening in your ward. If you see cars, this is what's going on. It's an investigation. So your job, like I did over the weekend, I walked my block with Council Denswell at large, the 2 radios block up and down to tell people, hey, there was a big incident on Thursday night. Somebody got killed, yes. And then the driver left the scene, the driver got caught. Anything, any concern.
Okay.
So this is your job, and then people were happy. Not too many people were at home, but at least the few that you found, they were happy. They got the information, give them your business card, you tell them to call you next time. And then the other issue also is the garbage. There's recycling, and then the resident need to know about the schedule. They need to know what to be recycled, when to put it out. Mostly when you have a new resident moving in, they move from another town, the days might be different, they don't know. So their job is to reach out to their councilman, or the council reach out to them to say, hey, as a new resident, this is what needs to be done.
And a lot of that is also on the website too.
Oh yeah,
So,
this is that. I'm glad you mentioned that, which is a way of communicating.
Right.
You put it on the website, and then they can email us also on the website to tell us, what their concerns are.
Yeah. Okay, and listen, and one of the things is that myself, I'm not, dealing with calling accounts to do this, do that. Some people they feel that you're untouchable. And I'm not just saying you, the council person themselves, so, besides, I know you were walking, knocking on the doors and stuff like that. So is that how you get personal? You get to know?
You get personal by going to churches. You see people from your ward at churches, and then you see them in the supermarket. Like I encourage residents to shop locally. When you go to the supermarket locally, you see people from your ward or even from other ward, and they ask you questions. And your job is to tell them, because like you just mentioned, we human like everybody else. Like I told everybody, I go home, I clean, I do garbage, I cut grass, I do everything. I'm a human being. It's just like I had an extra responsibility where I represent you at the dais, your voice at the council,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and you being council president,
Yes.
explain now what that role is, because this will be, of course, the first year that you're council president.
Yeah.
And so now, so your duties, beside the duties that you had, what additional duties are you
Okay,
holding?
as a council president, you kind of working closely with the mayor. And this is where I said a couple of meetings. I'm enjoying being a councilman now because I have a relationship with the mayor. Like I told you when you came here, I met with the mayor, he gave me an update on what's going on, fill me in because we're gonna have a special meeting Thursday. So he give me updates on things that's going on, which is pretty good. The council president do control the agenda. The agenda is every meeting, I have to review it before it goes out to the other council members. So if I don't feel comfortable, I don't have enough information, I can pull something out of the agenda.
I see.
See, I'm pulling it out because I don't have enough information, because I won't be able to explain when the public asks questions.
Right.
So this is a big duty of the council president. And then you set up the committees. The committees, you got the finance committee, which is the biggest one. I'm the chair, and I have two other council members with me. You got public safety, which like you deal with the police and fire department. And then you got human resources, HR. And then you got communication, and then you have public works, and then recreation. Those are the 5 big ones. And then you split them with 2 or 3 members, and then you go to those meetings. And then this is a thing that people don't understand. You're not only a councilman to see your resident during the weekend or after hours, but you have a duty to run the board also, because you run the legislation part of the board.
Right.
So that means if there's an issue, you create an ordinance to change the policy. If somebody want to have like a business and they have issues, they come to you, it's a policy that's blocking them doing it. So you gotta help them out. Create
But
the
people
policy.
have to understand too, you have a full-time job.
Yes.
I
you
mean,
gotta
so
feel jumped up, and then
it's
you have
not-
a family too.
Yeah, council president is a part-time position.
Yeah, it's a part-time
Part-time.
position.
I mean, so, when I first moved there, I didn't know that. I actually thought it was a full-time position.
No, it's always,
Okay.
because 2 weeks with the 2 incidents, you got called in the middle of the night, and then you on the phone to make sure you know, because the first thing that's gonna happen when something happens, the resident's gonna come to you and say, what happened?
Yeah.
So, like, this morning you sent an email, so I told you, hey, reach out to the police department, and the mayor sent you an email back,
Right.
explaining to you. We restricted what we know, we cannot really put it out there because it's under investigation. But we'll tell you, hey, it's under investigation, this is what happened, and this is what that's gonna happen, and then we keep you posted.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, let's shift gears a little bit. We in the first ward, I don't know. I don't exactly know where Ward 1 begins and how far it goes.
Okay, we
Yeah.
start from the First Avenue on Harrison one side, and then all the way down to St. George.
Okay.
So that's starting point from the second ward.
Okay.
But when you get to Harrison, I think 7, you go down to Drake, and then you cut Drake in 2. You shift on one side
Okay.
for us, and
Right.
then the second ward drive Drake
right.
on one side for them. On your right inside
right,
is second ward, and then on your left inside is first
see.
ward. And then you go all the way down to the park. That's the border of Elizabeth.
Right. Okay. And one of the things that I know the mayor has a big, one of his big initiatives is redevelopment.
Yes.
I don't see, in First Ward, beside First Avenue, that area and stuff, that's where a majority of the businesses are. What are you trying to do, or what would you like to happen in redevelopment? Or are we looking at trying to bring more businesses in that area, or are we just trying to sustain what's there?
I can tell you, First Ward, we got lucky when we had the UEZ in 203, 202, 203, and then I was the luckiest one to start. That's when the redevelopment of the First Ave started.
Right.
That was used to be a playing field. And then, of course, where the bank is, Chase Bank, used to be like an empty lot also.
No.
So the developer came and said, hey, I need to help, I need this. So one of the assemblymen went to the county, get a grant to level it for him. And I remember people were talking and saying, why do you want this? Why don't you give me the money to get out of town? And then that was a good thing. They leveled it, and he came, and he created 17 stores. I mean, when you go there, that was the first redevelopment was done in 50 years. Okay? And then you got a 2 anchor store, and then you got a lot of, small stores in between with a dollar store, with a liquor store. I'm sorry, I got a cold. And then you go from there, and then across the street you got a bank, and you look at the traffic that moved there, it's just like, wow. Because people always said it was not gonna work.
Right.
And because of ShopRite and then Home Depot. But we made a deal with Home Depot where we connect the driveway where people could shop at Home Depot and then drive in still into our strip mall. So, and then the paper company, and you remember, I don't know if you remember, the building was really ugly, things like that. So we get on their case to say, hey, you cannot have those ugly buildings there. You didn't want to sell to extend because the mall was going to extend all the way down to Linden. He didn't want to sell.
Okay.
So we put pressure, he didn't want to sell, he wanted to stay, but we put pressure on him at least to upgrade your building. And then you have Las Brasas, which is a nice family small restaurant with Spanish.
I've never been there.
Oh, it's really nice. Once in a while you can take your kids on a Thursday night, you have a little Spanish music. Right. It's not expensive. Right. You eat local. And then you move further up where I told you I visited the adult daycare. Yeah. That used to be a big
I remember
monster building sitting there doing nothing.
I remember
and then
that.
when the guy came in, those are UEZ incentive, get them moving, then we modeled the whole building. And then next door to it, it says home group, which is a nice building. You may not like what is in there based on the business, but it's a nice building compared to the old building. And then you got some of the stores, they're not that bad. They upgrade a little bit. Right. So the first one, to tell you the truth, the only part I would really concentrate on St. George, we got a big lot, and right after Ciabla. Right after Ciabla, there's a lot that we own ourselves. Okay. Ciabla is lobbying us to sell it for a parking lot, but I don't think it would be a great thing to have a parking lot on 2 acres when you can have nice restaurant or something bigger than there.
Now, but is the first ward? Can we actually put more commercial in there?
I don't think we have that much room. Yeah, I think we get to the point that the street mall really took us to the next level, right. And it's just like to maintain that, keep it going, and then make sure those businesses don't go out of business, and they stay in and drive the customers in. Right. We drive a lot of Linden residents in there, and then one of the things that we did in the past as a UEC coordinator, we used to have Channel 34 advertising. I would go to the business and advertise, show what kind of business we have here, why people should come and shop, and then people sometimes see it on 34, and they come out, and then they shop, and then those businesses stay in business.
Is that something that's going to happen again, or?
It's about money. It's money. You need to have money. Everything is money, and then the thing that, that's why I encourage your show. It's like you tell people what's new business are in town, because people may not know. Like you got not just the ward, you got Julie Pino's. This is one of the anchor in town, a bakery that you go everywhere, people talk about. Yeah. You got Ciabla to move in, who replace Food Town. It might be a little bit, more Spanish, Portuguese market, but, you go there, you support, because if you keep them going, and it's good for you because the economy will regenerate, and then you don't have empty stores. When you have one empty store, a second one, those guys are paying taxes, and it's a domino effect. Everybody don't want to come here because you got empty stores.
Right. Now, let me ask you this too: is that, we're dealing with besides the store. Roselle and Hold, we need business. We need business. We have to have business to sustain the taxes. That's the only way it is. And I understand that's what the administration's trying to do. Now, with the times, how is the first ward is faring in the housing market? Is it
the housing market? I know a lot of people are really skeptical about the foreclosures. Yeah. The one thing about the foreclosures, it does affect the neighborhood because when somebody loses their house, it's become empty. But as the taxpayers, we don't really lose it because the bank will take over the tax and pay for it. So the pressure now is to have, I don't know if you've been watching the news, there's a big settlement with the 5 big banks with the federal government. So where New Jersey will get $835 million. With that $835 million, there's a push for bills where they will take $75 million to help those foreclosures with municipalities, where they will encourage.
Now helping as what? The homeowner or the vacant house?
The homeowner is kind of on his way out. Right. They're losing everything. The only thing the bill will allow, the federal will allow them to get $2,000 once they lose their house. That's the word. So now, with the town and the boroughs and the cities, what they're trying to do is to encourage affordable housing. There's a law you're supposed to make COA. COA is like for affordable housing. So a lot of towns and cities cannot, meet their requirement. So now the push by the bill by Senator Lesniak and Assemblyman Green is to push for co-op money to go to those small towns and cities to purchase those housing and then put them in the market as a rental. So therefore they don't stay empty and then you don't have that
Now,
downgrading
that's
of
for the town to purchase the home?
yeah, to purchase them and then put them in the market as a rental, and then that downgrade the fact that your ward is looking bad because you got so many empty houses. So that's one thing, and then with the county task force also, they're trying to educate. Not because you get a letter from the bank you're late that you really have to walk away from your house.
Right.
There's help out there.
Yeah.
There's way you can negotiate with the bank if you still have a
Well,
job.
let me tell you
But
something.
most of the
The banks don't want the house. I mean,
Exactly.
they would rather keep you in there.
Exactly.
I mean, they
but
don't want
it's a way for people to know there's help.
Yeah.
You renegotiate with the bank as long as you have a job you can pay or you're on a unemployment. They will work with you for a certain time, decrease your rate, and bring it back, once you find another job. But the main thing is just like people needs to talk to a representative, go to the website, look for information, don't just walk away, say I'm losing my house, and then walk away,
Now, I mean, but let me ask you this though. Let's say it does happen where the town can purchase the house. I mean, then that becomes the responsibility of the borough. The deal with, I assume.
But the thing is just like if you're renting it, you're covering two phases. The phase is not empty, and then you don't have to chase the bank to come and clean it up, or you clean it up and charge them a fee that they don't pay you until maybe later. So that's number one. But you got people that instead of running away, they can stay in the house but renting it and an option to buy later.
So okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like you help because when somebody loses their house, what happened? They move to another town. If the kids, you have to start all over again.
Yeah. Well, and they usually move into a rental.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So Senator Melendez is pushing for a federal bill also to work with President Obama. So all those things, as a task force, with the county. So I have the chance to sit down at those committees and see the hearing and then listen and then bring the information back to our ward and then to our residents to tell them, hey, look on the website, we're posting things, do your research, call, because there's some organization, non-profit, that won't charge you money and it'll help you out.
No, listen, I know there's, listen, it takes some initiative by the homeowner.
Yeah.
They have to do.
Yeah, then they say the envelope, don't say, it's another bill. Open it up.
But it also goes, listen, with what goes on here too in the town itself. It takes a little initiative by the homeowner, the resident, to do some research.
Yeah.
To come out to the council meeting, to find out what's going on. You can't always complain.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I hope that, that what we're doing is going to at least soften as we can reach out to you. What are your concerns? As a council, what concerns do you have with
my concern mostly is quality of life issues, taxes, because I'm a homeowner too, and then it's Roselle is such a beautiful bowl, with some nice housing, nice grass, nice backyard, good resident. That's one of the reasons that I moved in Roselle in the 90s, early 90s, is because I saw the diversity, But now what we need to do is to fix our school. Once you have a good school system, once you have your house in the market, that will go quick.
Yeah. Well, that's a big. That's a big thing.
That's a big safety issue. Those things. You can control them. You just like you have to give the police enough, to do their job. You equip them well. You give them new cars. You keep them. People are retiring. You're replacing the school, and then you keep them. You have a good communication policy, community relationship with the community. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is costly. Yesterday I spent all day working on the budget. That's part of the process.
And how did that?
No, it's just like putting numbers together.
Yeah.
It's just like, you have to deal with your salaries. You have police, fire, and public works. Those are the three major salaries. And then after that, you have the healthcare. That's major expenses. And then now you have maintenance. You got, buying new cars. Because I know last year we got some heat on buying 2 new trucks. And people was giving us hard time. But, the first snow that we had, everybody said, oh, what's going on? Was that changing? No, we had the equipment now. We could do with the work instead of contracting it out. We had an in building. and then we borrow money to buy new.
We have to be, but also too, is that DPW, I mean, we have to be faring better than last year dealing, because last year we were hit
With badly,
with
yeah.
badly.
Yeah.
I mean, this year, it's
No,
pretty much been
it's
spring weather.
Oh yeah,
so,
no,
you know,
we're keeping our fingers
yes,
crossed because
yes.
every time
So-
we buy the bad weather on the weekend, it costs us a lot of money
right.
for overtime.
So we should be faring pretty well in that area.
Yeah.
I mean, at least this year.
Yeah, but we have a bad weather. The trees were falling like crazy.
Yeah.
That costs us a lot of money too.
Yeah, well, you know, I just want, again, I just want everybody to know what's going on, Ward, and, you know, get to meet you. Let everybody know, again, your number, your contact information.
Okay, my number is 908-967-1504. 908-967-1504. And you can email me, yaubourg@boardofroselle.com. So you can email me, you can text me any way you want, and then you can call the board office also, leave a message for me, 245-4600 and then 5600, and ask to leave a message for Councilman Aubourg. But my job is to be really visible, go to the ward, meet people, but not on a bad note when somebody's hurt or when there's a murder, things like that.
No.
It's just like I'm working the ward. You have some issue, stop me. It's your right to be mad. It's your right if you don't like something. If you don't see the sweeper, it's your right to say I haven't seen the sweeper. I got one lady on the second. She would text me, say, I haven't seen the sweeper this week. What's going on? And then I tell her, don't worry, I get it. I just forwarded it to George, and George said I didn't know about it, or maybe the sweeper was down,
Right.
Things like that. But with the technology now, I think we can communicate better.
Right.
And then with you, I think you're doing an excellent job. I always supporting what you're doing. I can thank you for that. And then we have a new mayor. He's doing an excellent job. I can tell you, he's finding things that needs to be corrected. And then with that, if those things come to fruition, people are going to see the difference in Roselle administration.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're hoping that everybody can work together. I mean, of course.
I think it's a great wish, but it seems like when we do that, people come out and say, oh, you guys all voting together.
Well, listen,
we got beat up if we.
This game has been played for a long time.
One thing I explain to everybody: we fight behind the screen when we have the committees. Once we discuss things, we disagree, agree. Why you doing this? Why you doing that? When we get a consensus, this is the way we want to move forward. When we go in front of public, there is no need to fight. Because we already did our discussion. We already agreed. It's not a surprise. Mm-hmm. This is what we want to do. And then we all come out forefront. This is what we're supporting, and this is the reason we're doing it.
We hope that the officials that we elected are doing the due diligence that we expect them to do.
And then that's a key word.
Yves, that you're always going to get the opposition. That's just the way.
I don't mind the opposition.
And most of it, there's silly opposition. There's just that's what people want to do. But let me tell you something: is that I hope that we can keep this going and move away from all of that. I'm here to take you to task. That's what we're here. I'm here to know that my $10,000 taxes are going and being used
to good
in the
cause.
Correct.
And balancing the budget.
And I think
paying
that's
for officers, paying for
right,
fire department.
right. And I think that's one thing that people need. The residents need to educate themselves and start making phone calls. Listen, I'll send an email every day if I have to, or just to get to know what's going on, what it is, and then I'll get an answer. Whether you give it to me or whoever, okay, that's their answer. Whether I like it or not, I got an answer. So I think it's a good thing. I mean, we appreciate you being a fan of the show. We appreciate the time that you come, and when we talk, we get answers, and that's just the way it is. So
before you close out, I want also to mention that reach out to the Chamber of Commerce. We're gonna meet with them. They're gonna have a kickoff, and then we keep you posted on the day.
Please, because right now I've tried to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, and I've never known when they're gonna meet, who's this, who's that.
You'll
been
find
a little-
out. What
yeah,
happened is it was a competition.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know, because when I started the UEZ, that was the time the chamber started, and we moved UEZ business and chamber together, and we were going together.
Yeah.
Once I left town, they came out with another group trying to challenge the chamber, and that wasn't a good move. Because, you know, people, you know, when I was there, they had about 80 to 90 members. Last week I met with them, 2 weeks ago, it was about 34 members. So that's a big drop.
Yeah, no,
You know, and
listen,
it's not good. And if you don't have a vibrant chamber,
right.
you're not going to have a vibrant
Listen,
business.
we're here to assist in any way. Business is my first priority. I'm a business owner. I deal with business. So I have to look out for other businesses, and that's what we want. So any help that we can give, the Chamber of Commerce or whatever, you know, we're there for that. So I hopefully that 34 will increase, because I get it. I get people who ask me, how do I get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce? I can't tell them anything.
Okay,
And that's the thing too.
You can talk to Valerie Deering. I think she's still the president.
Okay.
She's on Century 21 here.
Yeah, I know you
Or you
do.
can go talk to Julie Pinos.
Okay.
Those are the two founder members, and then they are John Bush from On Time.
Yeah, I
You know,
too.
those guys, they keep keeping it, and then with the new administration working with them, now we're gonna have a big kick out at the golf course.
Okay.
You know, I think it's April 26th, but don't
No,
quote my word
no,
for
no,
it.
no,
But you know,
but
we're
I'll
gonna have a big
keep me
kick off
posted,
with them.
yeah.
And then we're gonna have new sign, welcome to Wazelle, that everybody's gonna be proud of Wazelle. Everybody see the website. You know, I think you compliment us
Oh
on
yeah,
that.
no, listen, I think that was one of the best
Yeah.
things that were done.
Yeah.
I go on the website, I do my Oprahs there, you know, so it's a good piece. And I've always had, my thing is not to duplicate. So the website is doing what it needs to do, and and the committee that put it together did its just due on it. So it's a real good thing.
We got
I
34
encourage
back
everybody
now.
to go there.
We got 34 back and working on the newsletter that needs to go out to the resident. Because one of the things I was discussing with the councilman at large, because you're working at the door, people say, I don't see you on this when they're campaigning. So now you're working to tell them, hey, this and this didn't happen, this is what's going on. And they're not home. And you leave your business card or you don't see them, they don't even know if you stop by.
Right.
But with the newsletter, you hit everybody. They may not read it, but I know you did your part, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Well, listen, Yves, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And we're hoping that we can at least get with you every month.
That's fine
You know,
with you. I'm
every
here, I
month-
told you, every Tuesday I'm here
Yeah,
from 6
so,
to 8.
you know,
That's my office hour, so
yeah.
if you want to stop by every month, I'm well open and then keep you updated because we got new street gonna be paved
Okay.
on the first ward.
Good,
We're gonna have a
good.
lot of street paving. on the
So
first
just, this is our first of the Ward Speaks, and so hopefully that we will be able to bring the other council people on and let them tell you what's going on in your ward. Move forward from there. Have
Thank
a
you
good
so
night.
much. You too. And
All right,
thank you
everybody.
everybody for giving me a chance.
All right, so long.